My name's Bill Harrell, and I've been the sheriff of Lawrence County. This is my 12th year. I started my law enforcement back in 1976. I worked under 4 sheriffs. During that time, for the last 2.5 years there, I was able to work for the Deputy U.S. Marshal Service on my days off. Being privileged to work under 4 sheriffs, you learn a little bit about different things from each and every person. And I was always very blessed because I always told folks when they came to me and asked, hey, will you vote for me? I used to tell them, here's the biggest thing is this: I'm loyal to the man that I work for. If you beat that man, then turn out, and if you give me the opportunity to work for you, I'll be just as loyal to you as I was to them. My main conviction in my life is that, number one, you treat folks the way you want to be treated. You don't lie, you don't steal, you have good morals, you have good values, and above all, good work ethics. And that was instilled in me by my family as a very young man. And if I didn't do those things, there was usually a very bad outcome that I didn't like. When at the sheriff's office during those years, I was able to work my way up to the rank of a sergeant, where I worked for probably 10 years. And I felt that each and every person that was on my shift was a part of my family. I try to tell them, this is the way I do things, and you can put forth the same thing towards your function to see how you want to correct the thing. It's like I may be able to do something that you're not able to do, but then again, you may be able to do something that I can't do. And if you put both those things together, we've always been able to overcome most anything we have. I've always felt like it's so much easier to go ahead and be straight up front with a person and tell them that, hey, bad as you hate to say it, you broke the law and you're going to have to go to jail. I'll help you whichever way I can. And by doing that, I've been very blessed, because a lot of times I never did have to get in a squabble. But in the same respect as this, I tell folks this: I took an oath to protect and serve the people in our community, and that's what I've always done, and I'm going to continue to be that way. And if you work for me, I expect them to do the same thing. That first night I had my family there, and I felt how humble it was to have folks in the community believe in me enough to be sheriff. My mother had been in a nursing home for about 7 years. She couldn't get out and see me. But I know my mother always told me this: you work hard, you do what you're supposed to do, you put your life in the Lord Jesus Christ's hands, and you do what you think you're supposed to, and you can accomplish anything that you want. And I felt I had done it that night. And I realized, oh my Lord, I've stepped into something now, but I'm going to have to be very diligent about what I have to do, and that's what I've tried to do since being sheriff. I don't care who you are, folks going, in some folks' eyes, you'll go to their house, and time you leave, you're going to be a good person to some person, and the other person, you're going to be the biggest SOB in the world just because you had to do your job. But we all know that's the nature of the beast. Law enforcement officer doesn't get invited to good parties or good times. You just see folks the worst times of their lives. You think about it, you have to go deliver a death message because a member of their family has lost their life in a wreck or something else like that. You have to just be straightforward. You have to have some compassion in your heart. And, you got to ask God to give you strength so you can go ahead and be able to do your job. And that's what we've always tried to do. Each and every time that I've been able to run for sheriff and be elected, it's been a very humbling thing, because you realize that folks care that much about you and got that much faith in you to do the job. And I don't care what you do, you can always have a person say, well, I would have done it this way, or I would have done it that way. But what makes it bad at the given time, you have to make a decision, like I tell folks all the time, the deputy sheriff does, that he has to live with the rest of his life. He can't just wave a magic wand and correct it. He has to make a decision he has to live with and go forward with, whatever it is. You just can't say, hey, I can take this back, time out. And I've always tried to surround myself with people having the same morals and values and wishes that we want to do. We've always wanted to make Lawrence County a safe place to live, a place where folks from other counties would come and feel at ease. I've even had a lot of folks tell me, you know, I wish our sheriff would do some of the things that y'all do in your community. And when that takes place, you really feel like, hey, I've made an influence somewhere in somebody's life, and it's been good. My greatest joy of being sheriff is knowing that I've been able to do my job and do it to the best of my ability. You know, it's out of all the times that you do stuff that you have to make some folks mad, the one time that a person comes up and tells you thank you for what you've done or thank you for what y'all have done for us means more to me than you'll ever know. You think about it, we work on a big case sometimes, somebody may have lost their life, and we work that case and it works on you, and it takes a long time for you to go ahead and find the subjects and get them off the street. And that's what we've tried to do. We've always tried to work hand in hand with other law enforcement agencies, and that's one thing. I've never been a person that's trying to say, hey, I want the glory from this. I want us to get the person off the street that's broke the law and be able to get them convicted. You know, this isn't a good time we're living in now. There are folks who are doing crimes that you think about that used to happen in other places. You pick up the paper now and they're happening right here now. And what we're trying to do is stay up with them and try to get these things done so maybe we can eradicate it. You know, drugs are one of the biggest problems in the United States. You know, it's not just Lawrence County. I told somebody one day, I said, you know, you think about the state of Georgia, all 159 counties have the same problems that we do. Some may be a little worse, some may be a little better. But you know, the thing about it is, by us teaching kids through the Chance program that we do with all in our schools, other than the city schools, we try to teach kids to say, you need to make healthy alternatives and decisions that you can live with. And you know, think about it, we have like 20 or 25 lesson plans that we can teach in. And from there, we choose those things to help them become a better student. You know, I tell folks all the time that if we influence one child's life where he or she will not do drugs, will not do alcohol, I feel like we've done a very beneficial thing for our community, and I hope they'll do the same thing. You know, by being a deputy sheriff, you know, we have to look at things and make decisions in a quick second. I can remember one time I went to a house where a child was being brought up in squalor. And I've always told them this, you know, if you don't break that vicious cycle, guess what? They're going to think each and every household in Georgia and Lawrence County is going to be the same way. You know, if you raise a child up in filth, drugs, alcohol, physical abuse, mental abuse, guess what? That child thinks it goes on in every house. We've got to step up to the plate and try to stop it, and that's what we've tried to do. Hello, my name is Bill Harrell, and I'm the Sheriff of Lawrence County. Folks, I've lived here all my life, and it's a privilege to know that I've served our community for 30 years, with the last 12 years of being your sheriff here in Lawrence County. I take my oath to protect and serve very seriously. It is an honor to be elected by your friends and your peers, and I look forward to serving the citizens of our community. Thank you for consideration. Cast your vote for W.A. Bill Harrell, Sheriff of Lawrence County. Thank you for your time and your vote.